This is the story of November 2004. There is a one-week holiday in Tadcaster Grammar School in the United Kingdom. Approximately 90 students go on an educational trip on this holiday. Students were divided into 9 groups, out of which 11 people were present in one group. Out of those 11 people, 9 were students. One was a maths teacher, and a 17-year-old boy was a guide. The guide here was not an experienced person. In fact, he was a 17-year-old boy who had already explored the cave. All the students decide to go to the lush countryside. It means a place where there is a healthy environment, greenery or trees, and plants are present. And they get such a place whose name was North Yorkshire, which was present in the United Kingdom. There is a special thing about North Yorkshire, that there is a lot of Netherdale cave, such caves that are interlinked with each other. 9 groups of each student go on their own trip. Some of them go hiking, some go to see rivers, some go fishing, some go rock climbing, and one group of 11 people wants to explore the Netherdale cave system, where a lot of caves were interlinked with each other. 3 friends were also present in the group: Josh, Charlie, and Amy. These 3 students were going to explore the cave with their classmates, and as I have already told you, that a guide and a maths teacher were also present with them, who were supervising them on these paths. There were 13 to 14-year-old children in this group, who were going to go to high school next year. Anyway, a special part of this whole caving system was Manchester Hole, which looked like a hole on the normal surface, but actually there was a very large cave system inside it, and there was a lot of greenery around it. Anyway, the maths teacher tells all the students to go down safely after giving safety instructions. All the students reach the big chamber while walking on the narrow path. All the children are very happy to see such a chamber under the ground. There was a few inches of water on the surface of this place, because of which the ground there was very smooth. But the good thing was that all of them were wearing rubber boots, because of which they were not having any problem walking there. In fact, they were having a lot of fun and exploring that place. The chamber in which they were present at that time was quite big, but there were some small pieces of stalagmite inside it, and there was a thin and smooth path going under this chamber, which was very crooked and also very tight. This was the same part of the cave which they had to cross and move ahead. This path was difficult because it was 40 feet long, which was higher from somewhere and lower from somewhere. Anyway, the maths teacher sends the guide first. After that, one by one, all the children, and in the end, they go by themselves. All the people were crossing that cave while crawling. Sometimes they used to pull themselves out from the tight path below. Sometimes from the upper turn, there were also stones in the middle of this cave, which were sometimes sticking to someone's chest, sometimes on someone's hand. They were only 13 to 14-year-old children who are getting suffocated in this dark cave. But in this case, the guide gives them courage, that we don't want to give up, but we have to keep moving ahead. The surface of this cave was very wet, in which water was coming slowly, because of which all of them were getting wet from below. The amazing thing was that they were not any professional cavers, but still, after crossing that path, they reached to the next big chamber. Maths teacher encourages all the students to follow the guide and explore the next caves. But in the meantime, the guide notices one thing, that the water level in the cave is increasing slowly. Seeing this, they start getting nervous. The weather outside was cold, and light breeze was also blowing, and there was no news of rain from anywhere. The place where all of them were present, the water was reaching their knees, and the temperature of the water was about to freeze. Gradually, the water level increases so much that water starts coming inside their boots also. If they would have gone to explore the cave from this place, then they would have created more problems for themselves. In this situation, all of them start discussing that should we go to explore the cave from here, or should we leave this exploration here and go out? The more they were discussing, the more the water level increases. After seeing all this, all of them start getting nervous, because this water was coming from the same cave, from which they reached to this chamber while crawling. The biggest confusion for them was that where did this water come from? Because the weather outside was clear and there was no chance of rain. But still, the guide understands the situation and tells all of them to go back, before the whole cave gets filled with water. The guide sends all of the students one by one from the cave, and also tells the math teacher to go with them, who will keep the courage of all of them in such a situation, and will keep helping them to move forward. All of them start going back while crawling. It was difficult for them to come to this cave, but now it was even more difficult to go back. Some of the ways were such that 2 people can easily pass through it, but some of the ways were such that even one was difficult to pass through, As I told you in the beginning that this 40 feet long way was very high and low. Now the biggest problem for them was that the water starts accumulating in the lower ways, and to cross this part and move forward was a challenge in itself. The students who were coming from behind were very nervous, and they were putting pressure on those who were crawling in front of them to move fast. At this time, the atmosphere of the cave was getting very dangerous. Some of the students were drowning in the water, some of them were drowning in the water, some of them were drowning in the water. The water level was increasing, due to which the students were nervous and wanted to get out of there as soon as possible. Now some students and math teachers get relief that while facing this problem, they get out of the cave and reach the big chamber. Math teachers help the rest of the students to get out. By the way, the speed at which the water level was increasing at that time was really shocking. Now at that time, one big problem was that some students had stopped inside the cave. And do you know what was the reason for their stop? They were thinking that they would have to stop breathing and cross the lower part by crawling, which was really a very tight path, and their belief was that if they get stuck in the lower part, their life would not go anywhere. And because of this, they were waiting for the water level to decrease by stopping at the upper part. The atmosphere was so bad that the students were screaming and crying. In this way, they were surviving by breathing in the empty part on the upper side. Now in the meantime, a student named Charlie makes all those children believe that we can get out of here. We just have to hold our breath for 2 minutes, and then we will have to move to the next upper part. And he explains that the path ahead is only a few feet long, which we can cross very easily. Hearing this, the students move forward. The last chamber of this cave still had 3 people present there. The guide explains to Amy and Joseph that they should try to get out of here as soon as possible, before the whole chamber is filled with water. Both of them also start trying to get out of the cave. As Amy and Joseph move forward, they also meet some students who had given up in the cave and stopped at the upper part. Now in this way, Joseph stops his breath and tries to cross the lower section. Joseph moves forward, and as soon as he reaches the lower section, he gets stuck in the water. He starts shaking a lot, but then a student grabs him from behind and pulls him back. After this incident, Amy, Joseph, and the remaining students lose all their strength. Now one problem was not over, that one more problem increases. The water level inside the cave was increasing more and more. The empty space on the top was left, it starts to decrease gradually, and then a time comes when the whole section of the cave is filled with water, where the oxygen to breathe was over. Whatever oxygen the students had, they start trying to move forward with it, because they did not have any other way to save their lives. Here, Amy and Joseph should have also moved forward, but they both come back to the last chamber, where they meet the guide. The guide explains to them again that the water level is increasing, and in a while, this remaining part will also be completely filled with water. If they have to save their lives in this way, then they will have to take a long breath and cross this cave. Saying this, the guide takes a long breath and enters the cave to get out of that way, and starts trying to cross the paths filled with water above and below. Those who tried to get out of that cave, all of them succeeded. But still, Amy and Joseph were stuck in the same cave. Amy also takes a long breath and starts trying to get out of that cave. Amy was also about to get out of that cave while trying, but the problem is that just a little before the exit, she cannot hold her breath anymore, and then she stops there. But the good thing was that Amy's luck was on her side. The guide's hand comes from the front of Amy, which pulls Amy out of the cave. The guide was just a 17-year-old boy who saved Amy's life that day. At the moment, all the people had left the cave, but Joseph was still stuck in the cave. Joseph was trying to get out of the cave, but Joseph makes a mistake that day. Instead of moving forward in the cave, he tries to go back, that maybe he will find an empty part of the cave behind. But in fact, the cave was completely filled with water from the back side. Anyway, all the members were saved. The math teacher starts trying to get them out of the cave, because the water level in the cave was increasing, and he didn't even know when the water would be completely filled in the cave. Joseph was still stuck in the cave, and was facing cold water. The guide starts going back to save him, but the math teacher stops him, because he didn't want to put other people's lives at risk. At this point, the guide understood that Joseph could not survive, because the water was very cold and was filled in the whole cave, and there was no air pocket in the whole cave. Joseph was still alive, and was trying to get out of the cave. But the problem here is that the section where he was stuck earlier, he gets stuck in the same section again. The math teacher immediately goes out and gives an emergency alert. All the members of the group were surprised that the weather was clear, and the white clouds were overcast. So where did the water come from in the last cave? Anyway, later it is found that the water was accidentally released from the reservoir dam that day. because of which the water level of the river had increased, and the same water was passing through small paths and reaching inside the cave. As I told you in the beginning, these people went to explore the Niderdale cave system, where all the caves are connected to each other. And that day, due to the high water level in the river, water must have gone inside a cave, which went around and reached the passage of this group. Anyway, as soon as the water level of that cave decreases, a rescue mission is run, and Joseph Lister's lifeless body is taken out of that cave. This was the trip of that group, which traumatized them for life. Friends, I hope you liked this video a lot. If you liked the video, then do like the video, and also subscribe to the channel, and do tell me in the comment that how did you like this story. So see you soon with a new video.